Good morning. You find us here at Coptic Cairo, which is one of Cairo's oldest and long-standing neighborhoods in the entire city. It was founded around the Ptolemaic and Roman times, around 2,000 years ago, as the heart of the Christian population in the city. However, even though the Christian history is super beautiful and rooted, we're not here to talk about that today. We're here to talk about the Jewish population of Cairo, which is, again, one of the most long-standing populations here in the city. Now, these city walls that surround Coptic Cairo were built under the Byzantines around the 2nd century in Roman times. Now, of course, major restorations were done to these, but a lot of it still remains from the old Roman settlement. Entering these walls is the same way that the Jews, the Christians, and other Egyptians have done for almost 2,000 years, under the same stone, under the same archways, under everything. As one of the longest standing monotheistic religions, Judaism obviously has really deep roots here in Cairo. Traditionally, of course, the book of Exodus in the Torah talks about the Jews' struggle here in the land of Egypt, being slaves to the Pharaoh and then leaving with Moses through the Sinai desert into the land of Israel. However, after that, Jews still remained here in Egypt for a long, long time. Ironically, the Torah actually states that Jews should not return to this land at all. In Deuteronomy, it says multiple times, and in the book of prophets, it's mentioned a few. Despite all of that, Jews came back to this land after being established themselves in the land of Israel and in the Levant. Throughout Egypt's history, the Jewish population remained small but mighty, a lot of the times not even numbering more than 100,000 residents in the entire country, mainly concentrated in Cairo and then further out in Alexandria. One of Coptic Cairo's main attractions happens to be a synagogue entitled the Ben Ezra synagogue, which was established more than 1,000 years ago in the 9th century. The synagogue is actually the oldest running synagogue in the Middle East. It was established in the 9th century and has been around ever since. Ben Ezra synagogue has recently been renovated into a museum in the past 10 years. After a lot of the Jews in Egypt left and not able to hold a congregation, it was then transformed into a museum for the public to enjoy. The Ben Ezra synagogue was established over 1,000 years ago and is mainly home to Sephardic communities who escaped Spain and other Arab-controlled nations coming here to seek refuge. The synagogue was built on the site where it is believed that Moses was brought out of the river in the hands of the Egyptian royalty in the biblical times. So this site has really connected roots to Judaism and the religion behind it. When the synagogue underwent renovations in the 1990s, the authorities found over 400,000 documents titled the Cairo Geniza that documented life of Jews in Cairo starting in the 9th century and ending all the way into the 19th. So with those 400,000 documents, we were really able to see how deeply rooted and how connected Jews are to this land, which I think is really cool in a place like this where the Torah tells us that we shouldn't really return. During their millennia-long stay in Egypt, Jews have been either regarded as full citizens, half citizens, or not citizens at all. They have played a large role in the building of the modern Egyptian society that we can enjoy today. They worked high in the government as secretaries of agriculture and history and treasuries, and also businessmen and other prominent roles in just Egyptian society. While for millennia the Jewish population in Egypt and Cairo remained steady at roughly 80,000 to 100,000 residents in the entire country, the population declined sharply around the mid-1900s with the establishment of the State of Israel and following persecutions against Jews in the years surrounding that. Pogroms and persecutions against Jews in the 1940s and following 1948 with the establishment of Israel. Many Arabs and other Egyptians persecuted the Jews and forced them to move elsewhere, surrounding the years of 1948 to 1960. because of that, the Jewish population of Egypt dropped from around 100,000 to only about 3 today. That's a major drop-off. And the 3 Egyptians who live here, who call themselves Jewish, are over 70 years old. And who knows, someday there will be no Jews left in this country. Which is really why it's important to tell the history of the Ben Ezra synagogue behind me and keep this tradition alive for as long as we can. Jews in Egypt already started that process by allowing the government to take over the synagogue and for the Ministry of Antiquities to help preserve the synagogue in a museum setting like this, so that tour groups and people coming from all around the world can come to the synagogue and learn about the Jewish history that has been rooted in Egyptian culture for millennia. Speaking of Maimonides, the second synagogue that we went to today was called the Maimonides Synagogue, dedicated after the rabbi post-mortem. It was built on the spot in Cairo in which he lived, and let me tell you, getting there was no easy task. We had to navigate these small, crowded, noisy, busy streets just to get to the spot that the synagogue was located at. I mean, maps never worked, so the maze of streets was just super hard to navigate. Eventually we got there, and when we got there we noticed that the synagogue was under repair, so we couldn't really talk about it too much. But thankfully we went through the synagogue guided by some of the workers that were there, and we were able to enjoy the space a lot. Supposedly that is the spot where he was buried also, although we couldn't really understand the people that were talking to us since they didn't speak any English. However, the nice thing though was that the synagogue was under repair so that more people can enjoy it once it's redone, just like the Ben Ezra synagogue that we went to earlier. There are only about 9 synagogues remaining in the entire country, with the Ben Ezra synagogue being one of the only ones being restored, aside from a couple in Alexandria, that you can come in and enjoy as a tourist. So it's also really important to tell these stories of these synagogues and the Jews in general of Egypt before it's too late. Thank you guys so much for watching our video. It really means a lot if you like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any future adventures that we go on. And also please feel free to donate down below, because it really helps out our channel and to create content for all of you guys at home. And we'll see you on the next adventure.